Hi everybody, and welcome to my video today. So I thought I'd do a video based on 5 steps for creating a 30-day personal challenge. So this stems from a previous video I did based on my 30-day speaking challenge I did in November. And I had a lot of comments in terms of, oh, this sounds really good, and it sounds like something that I'd want to do. So I kind of went back and reviewed what I did and the learnings I brought from it, and hopefully what you can take on board as well. So let's get started. So, rule number one for me is find out actually what you want to improve on specifically. So, I basically talked about my personal, I suppose, speaking challenge. So, my focus was on self awareness and self confidence. But your personal challenge could be on doing a 30-day writing challenge. It could be doing a 30-day graphic design challenge. It could be cooking challenge. It could be exploring any hobby you like or key skill that you want to improve on. Number two is do research. So when I did the 30-day speaking challenge, I researched to see if anybody else did that challenge before. Turns out there was a Medium article by Michael Thompson, which basically he did a 30-day speaking challenge, recording himself for 30 days for 5 minutes in the mornings, talking about himself and just reviewing how he thought about himself, looking at reviewing himself, and just I suppose it was like a general conversation. So when I did that research myself, I kind of took notes in terms of what went right for him. So for him was making sure that he dedicated a set allocated time per day, same time every day to actually do the challenge. Having a set script of what he was going to talk about, and that's what I took on board. So I took a script myself. So it's all about talking about myself, asking questions, self love, and body acceptance talks, just so I could build up self confidence and understand a bit more awareness about myself. He also had to watch himself back, and that was one of the scariest things a adult during the challenge. I'm no doubt saying it, it's one of the scariest things to actually feel unconfident with yourself and not watching yourself back. So that was the number one challenge for me. And yeah, it was a really good article to actually get inspiration, actually pursue the actual challenge more. So number three is, as much as you've probably done the context and understand research behind it, make sure the challenge fits within your overall goal. And now I say this is because the challenge should be something that you feel like you can't do, but actually you can. And the fact that it has to be something that can relate back to where you want to go with your career. There's no point doing something that's completely juxtaposed to everything. So for me, the speaking challenge was to do with I'm going to user research design. That's where I want to head with my career next. And secondly, is my biggest goal is to talk at a TEDx conference. So for me, doing that speaking challenge helped build that confidence and actually understand that I could do something like this long term, just so I can continue to improve my speaking practice. So yeah, have something that relates back to a bigger goal, so it can be making sure that your big goal is put into manageable chunks that can be measurable, that can be put back into a smaller, more tangible goals. So number four in the challenge is basically looking at time. So time here is divided into two. So number one, timing is related back to understanding, okay, when is the best time that you function doing these sort of activities? For me, it was waking up early before work and other activities during the day, um, doing it for half an hour in the mornings, but it could be like evenings, it could be afternoons, whenever you feel most productive, and make sure you set yourself an allocated time per day to do it. And then the other part is, as I probably explained, is time allocation in terms of how long you want to spend on the challenge. So I would recommend, it depends on what kind of challenge you're going to do. So for a speaking challenge, personally, 30 minutes is too long. Because if you want something sustainable and something that you want to quickly get involved with and actually show yourself changing, I recommend about 5 to 10 minutes. 5 minutes for, say, for example, doing the challenge, and then 5 minutes to actually watch yourself back. That is plenty of time. But I suppose with other challenges, like for example, writing challenges and design practices, which I've tried starting, I'm not going to lie, I'm in the middle of doing something similar at the moment, 5 minutes is not enough. You need about half an hour to about an hour to do those challenges per day. So make sure you set yourself time per day that you make sure that cannot be disturbed during your routine. And number 5 is making sure it's measurable. So I'm looking back, I suppose, for me, when I was doing those goals and doing that 30-day speaking challenge, I forgot to set myself a smart goal objective for it. So I knew what I was going to practice on, I knew exactly how long I was going to do it per day. But the one thing I missed was make sure it was measurable. And for me, I didn't really understand how to measure my self confidence and self affirmations, really. So I suppose looking back on it, and hopefully I can teach you, is to have something that's more tangible. So when I was looking at doing my speaking challenge in terms of self confidence, I could have looked at pace, because self confidence for me also relates back to me speaking fast. So if I looked at pace, I could reduce the amount of words I said per minute. That could have been one thing. Another thing could have been how many times I smiled. That might be seem such a minor thing, but actually smiling in terms of the context of when you speak brings that positivity. You're more likely to look positive, more engaged with people and the speaker. It could also be, I suppose, how many questions you ask yourself and how quickly you respond to it. It could be anything like that. I'm going to go off topic in terms of, like, if it's a writing challenge, how many words you do per day, and also how many, I suppose, looking at images, how long does it take you to do an image or a document? So something similar to that. But one thing I would say out of all these 5 uh, steps for this personal challenge, make sure you praise yourself for actually turning up. That's one thing I didn't really appreciate when I did the personal speaking challenge. I was so critical and wanted to change myself every single day for the challenge, but just turning up and give yourself little praise every single day will make sure you keep motivated to do it in the long term. I give you sort of an energy thing, and actually I've done this. I've done an achievement. I've done something that I didn't think was possible. And that is an achievement itself. It's just turning up. It doesn't matter how much you perform, as long as you do something, you're stepping in the right direction. So thank you for listening to my video today. Hopefully you took on the 5-step process of looking at context, time, research, making sure it relates back to a bigger goal, and also making sure it's measurable. So thank you for listening today. I shall speak to you soon. Ciao for now.